Todd Barclay.
Speaker, thank you for the ability to make a contribution to this general debate. I just wanted to make one remark before I start, and that was for the opposition who wanted to have a snap debate on an issue as important as the Minister of Health's decision to put a commissioner into the Southern DHB. They haven't really made much of a mention over that issue over the last hour or so. So I thought I'd start off my contribution by just clarifying a few points that were raised. Firstly, with regard to the Southern DHB, I think I'd like to congratulate the Minister on taking this decision. I know it's about the third time in the past 3 decades a decision like this has been taken, and it's not taken on a light basis. And I think that it's been, from what I've heard from my constituents, it's been welcomed by the community, particularly the rural health centres. And actually, while we're talking about cuts, actually total funding of Southern DHB is at a level of around $852 million. It's been an increase of $134 million over the last 7 years, including $15 million last year. 66 more doctors, 195 more nurses, 2,557 more elective surgeries, and a 30% increase since 2008. So, while we're talking about the data, it's looking pretty good from this side, Mr. Speaker. But I'd just like to reinforce the point that health is a sensitive topic, and it is something on top of mind to everybody. And I think that our community certainly would like to reinforce the support behind the government and the Minister of Health in particular for taking this step. And I'd like to offer my personal optimism for Southland and Otago, and the confidence that I have on behalf of my electorate for Cathy Grant and her team, and look forward to working with her over the near future, Mr. Speaker. And it's a project that she has willingly taken on board, which won't be a short-term fix, but she is more than qualified from all that I've heard of her expertise and background to lead this through. And segueing into the purpose of my speech, Mr. Speaker, around the better public services, which is a key feature of this government's policies across the public service, and it is around actually putting people at the centre of policies and around the centre of outcomes of public departments, and that is actually a key feature of what the Minister of Health's done in this decision that he's announced today, Mr. Speaker. And unlike the Labor Party, who were more focused on making sure that government departments keep getting more money each year with no real delivery and outcome. And an example I'll use is education. Over the 9 years where Labor was in government, they almost doubled spending on education with no real gain in achievement. We've increased spending in education by about 45%, and the achievement rates right from early childhood participation to national standards participation to high school NCA level 1, 2 and 3 are going up and up each year, Mr. Speaker, and it's through the remarkable contributions of the Cabinet and particular ministers working across these social sector portfolios to Honourable Hekia Parada, the Honourable Anne Tolley, the Honourable Nikki Kay. And these are real people that are looking across the public service, making a strong contribution for real New Zealanders, Mr. Speaker. Just talking about the national standards data, NCA level 2, with the latest data we've seen, we've had an increase from 85.7% to 86.8% over the last year, Mr. Speaker. And since 2010, we've seen NCA level 2 participation rise by 7%. And it's interesting that Mr. Clark over there is still talking about Mr. Bishop and not talking about the real issue at hand, which is actually the Southern DHB and his constituents. I think if you were to ask your constituents, Mr. Clark, about their decision around the government's need to put in a commissioner, they'd be very supportive of it, because they didn't see those gains under Labor. They saw a former Labor government muddling around with health and no real gains. This government has increased elective surgeries, increased the number of doctors, the number of nurses, and real tangible gains across the board, Mr. Speaker. So, our rural hospitals are in good heart. They're led by capable boards, they're led by capable chief executives, passionate medical staff, and passionate volunteers as well, Mr. Speaker, across the board, right from our midwifery care right through to GPs and to other aspects of rural hospitals. And that's why they're united in the support that this government is taking to try and get some real results for the people of Southland and Otago. So again, Mr. Speaker, I'd just like to reiterate my congratulations to the Minister on behalf of the people of Southland. Thank you.
The time for this debate has expired. I understand it's the government's intention to introduce an impress supply bill.
Impress Supply first for 2015-16 bill introduction.
This bill is set down for first reading forthwith.
Mr. Speaker.
The Honourable Paula Bennett.
Mr. Speaker, I move that the Impress Supply first for 2015-16 bill be now read a first time.